welcome to West Country Wanderings, and a big welcome to my monthly vlog for the month of May 2022. You're most welcome here on West Country Wanderings, particularly if you are a new subscriber. Just briefly explain about the format for today, and then I'll tell you about where I am and what's going to be happening during the course of this video. The monthly vlog format is to give you a little bit of an update on what's happening with the channel. I will go through some of the videos, share some of the behind the scenes stories, if you like, of making the 12 videos that I have done since my last monthly vlog back in April. I can't even remember that was now. I've done so much between then. It's just gone so blurred. There's been like a video every 3 days or so here. Sorry about the road in the background there, but I thought I'd come to this pot here because it is a really perfect spot, particularly if you're interested in my Canal series, and I'll tell you more about it in a minute. Well, today I've come to the county of Worcestershire. I've done many videos here before, of course. Near the town of Droitwich Spa, but specifically on the outskirts of a village called Hanbury, and it's in and around Hanbury that will be here today on the monthly video. Many reasons for that. Later in the video I'll be visiting Hanbury Hall, a National Trust property. I just remembered I've got to renew my membership again. I've hardly been using it. I thought, you know, where can I go from my monthly video that's got a National Trust property? So I booked tickets for 1 o'clock today. So I've got about an hour and a half here on the canal. So yeah, what the canal? Well, basically I'm at a junction of canals. The canal behind me is the Droitwich Canal. Now, we have come across this before here on West Country Wanderings, and when I did the video about Droitwich Spa, and we looked at the little stretch of the canal at Vines Park. We're a little bit further to the east of the town today, about 1.5 miles to the east of the town. Here at this place called Hanbury, it has 3 locks. I've just done a little bit of footage there. I'll just include that roundabout now. Lots of activity going on there today. That's really good. This canal actually was abandoned in 1939, but it was completely restored in this whole new sections. The lock section here at Hanbury was restored in 2002, and the whole of the line between the River Severn and this junction here at Hanbury, where it connects with the Worcester to Birmingham Canal, of course, was reopened in 2011. Narrowboat there just going through the bridge here, which marks the start of the Droitwich Canal. In actual fact, the Droitwich Canal is 2 canals. It started off in the 18th century. These friends of James Brindley was one of the initial architects, and it was a canal that purely linked Droitwich Spa with its links to the salt industry. I just saw a packet of Droitwich Spa salt the other day in my local co-op. I was amazed to find that. There's a farm, I digress, I know. There's a farm on the River Solway just south of the town that actually still manufactures the salt, so you might be able to pick that up, particularly if you live in the West Country, West Midlands area. I know, I digress. But that was the main reason that the canal was built, to obviously link it up to the River Severn and therefore the rest of the communication with the other canals in the area. It wasn't until 1823 it was then connected to the rest of the canal network by building the Droitwich Junction Canal, which linked it from the town, from that barge canal connected to the Severn, to here at Hanbury, where it joined the Worcester to Birmingham. Now, the Droitwich Canal was bought by the Sharpness Canal Company. I can't remember the exact name, it's a long, complicated name. They bought up other canals in the area, and obviously they owned the canal that goes between Gloucester Docks and Sharpness, connects to the River Severn. So they had an interest in this canal, which went from here, Worcester, Birmingham, and on to Droitwich and connected up the River Severn. They also bought the Worcester, Birmingham when they were doing that as well. Now, the Worcester Birmingham was profitable because, amongst other things, it transported chocolate. See my other video on the chocolate and canals for the story of that one. But the Droitwich wasn't so profitable at all because the salt industry was in decline. They were using the railways because they'd moved to the Stoke Works at Stoke Prior to the south of Bromsgrove, and they had less need for the canal running through the town. They had invested a lot in it, the Sharpness Canal Company, because they dredged it a lot, but it didn't really make much difference, and sadly it fell into disrepair, closing completely in 1939. But the community here in Droitwich Spa saw the canal as an asset, like they have in other areas that I've covered, obviously the Thames and Severn and Stroud Water, and the Kennet and Avon Canal, and the current project going on at Lichfield in Staffordshire, just outside my region that I cover here on West Country Wanderings. There was a lot of support to get this canal up together again, but it was a long haul from 1939 all the way through to 2011, but a magnificent achievement. Now, they had a number of obstacles to overcome, not least of which the M5. Where have I heard that before? The M5 reared its head because they slapped that across again in the 1960s when they were building the motorway south from Birmingham down from Bromsgrove, planked it across the canal here just outside Droitwich, which meant a big obstacle, and it took a lot of money investment to get a new bridge built under the M5 here just outside Droitwich. I didn't realise those ducklings are so close to me where I was doing the piece to camera, literally just below the footpath here. Oh, another canal barge coming through. Yeah, just on the towpath there. Now behind me here is Droitwich Marina. Notice there's a couple of narrowboats there. They're flying around my hair. A couple of narrowboats there, and they're being blacked every so often. If you own a narrowboat, it has to be lifted out of the water. It's usually about every 2 or 3 years. It has to be completely blacked underneath to protect against corrosion and erosion of, if it's like a steel or wood deterioration, obviously from the water being obviously in the water so long, obviously to protect the investment of the boat. So that's an essential thing. That's what's going on over there behind me at the moment at Droitwich Marina here. Now, they have got what's called the welcome park here right by the side of the canal, and there are picnic tables and a car park, so it's a wonderful spot to explore the canal. You can bring your own lunch, have a wander up and down the towpath, look at the activity at Hanbury Locks here. Delightful spot here. We're going to head over now to Hanbury Hall, so I'll see you over there in a bit. Well, welcome to Hanbury Hall. Just come a couple of miles from where we were at Hanbury Wharf on the canal. Beautiful spot here. It's a Grade 1 listed building. Was built by Thomas Vernon in the 18th century. He came from a long line of Vernons. Richard Vernon was the reverend here back in the 1600s. And then it passed down the line through the Vernon family into the 20th century when it was passed on to the National Trust. Absolutely stunning place here. Got this wonderful orchard here. I'll just show you that in a minute. The chap cutting the grass, I think he's gone for his lunch, so we're spared that at the moment at least. I'm just going to have a trip around here, then going to go through something called Snob's Tunnel. Not sure how it got its name, and that takes us to where the cafe area is and all the facilities. There's a shop there as well. And then what I'm going to do is do a tour around the inside, and like I've done with previous inside National Trust properties, I will just take some photographs and I'll put those with some subtitles and a bit of music as well. And then I'll complete today's monthly vlog over at Hanbury Church. We've got stunning views from the top there. I'll tell you all about what's been happening on West Country Wanderings. Now, Thomas Vernon got his wealth from being a chancery lawyer. That's a lawyer that basically deals in the commercial sector. You perhaps would call them a commercial lawyer there. They try to speed up the lengthy legal process in those days, back in the day of the late 17th and early 18th century. So he made great wealth from doing that. And he came back to Hanbury because his family were from this area. As I say, his great-grandfather was the Reverend Richard Vernon, who was the vicar at St Mary's Church here, which we'll look at later. He bought some 8,000 acres on the site of what is believed to have been Spurnell Hall, but there is no evidence of that. Obviously, there's certainly no photographs and there's no paintings of it. Now, there is a bit of a dispute around the date. If you look at the centre keystone above the great doors you enter Hanbury Hall, you'll see a date of 1701. Now, that's been disputed because Thomas Vernon didn't actually claim to be living in Hanbury Hall until 1705. So perhaps that was the date that the foundation stone was laid here at Hanbury. Now, one of the things that I remember vividly from my last visit to Hanbury Hall a few years ago was the painting on the staircase. In fact, there are a number of paintings in the hall, and we'll go and have a look at those. And what I'll do is, I'll do photographs, and if I can find some information on who the painter was and the detail of it, I'll put that as a subtitle below. So we're now going into the house. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the house here. I do apologise for the quality of some of the images, because just to let you know, the lighting levels in the house are very, very dim, which has meant that I've had to go to my sensor's extreme ISO. Well, I won't bore you with the details, but I've had to go into a high ISO to get enough shutter speed to avoid blur, so it might be a couple of grainy shots there. But that painting there, yes, on the staircase, last time I came it wasn't open upstairs, so I was able to get a better view looking down on it. And again, I've put in the detail of who the painter was of that famous piece here. The other thing to note about Hanbury Hall, I won't give you boy with all the details of the history here, but obviously we mentioned about Thomas Vernon, who obviously was the great grandson of the Richard Vernon, who was the Reverend. Thomas was the wealthy chancery legal guy who bought all the property in that. Well, obviously his granddaughter was Emma, and she married a gentleman called Henry. I think she later remarried because he died, but it was Emma and Henry Vernon who put the biggest stamp on the hall as we know it today, particularly to do with the paintings and all of the furnishings and layout. So how been interrupted by the sheep. So how all have you been keeping since my last vlog back in excuse the sheep. So how have you all been keeping since my last monthly video back in April? Love to be hearing all your comments. There've been a terrific number of comments lately, and I sometimes I can't get to reply to comments straight away, because obviously if I'm out filming like today, it's not always possible because the signal here isn't great for one thing. Another thing, I need to be using my camera and creating content, so it can take me about 36-48 hours sometimes to reply to comments. So I do apologise, there is a bit of delay, but I do endeavour to reply to every single one of you. And I'd like to thank all of you for your support. Thank you if you're a new subscriber. Thank you if you're an existing subscriber and you've been sticking around to enjoy, well, hopefully enjoy the content here on West Country Wanderings. I hope you're enjoying it. Like I say, I do try to cover it. I do to give a little bit of variety. I know some of you here just for the railways, some of you are here just for the canals, and some of you here for the walks. And hopefully some of you are here for all of those and much else besides. So I haven't got a railway today, I'm afraid, so I have included some canal content in today's video. As you saw at the beginning part of it, there will be a church, a little bit of walk. I'm actually on the grey route now here at Hanbury Hall. Just to let you know, you don't have to pay to go on the walks here and all this magnificent parkland. You do, obviously, if you're not a National Trust member, need to pay to go into the house and to look at all the gardens which we saw in the earlier part of the video. Highly recommend it though if you're in this part of the world, in this part of Worcestershire. It's a beautiful place. It's not just, if you're not that familiar with this area, it's quite close to the M5 junction 5. There we go, 5 and 5. It's quite easy to remember, and it's pretty much signposted from there really. So yeah, it's I've been enjoying my day here. It's really good. What I'm going to do now is going to find a quieter spot away from these sheep and tell you a little bit more about the channel and what's been happening over the past month or so. Now, just looking at this lake behind me just reminds me of something. The water level in this lake, it's only a small lake here in the parkland of Hanbury Hall. I forgot where we are for a minute. It has dropped a lot, and it just goes to show we've had, apart from last night, we had very heavy rain last night, and I didn't know what it was going to be like today, so I was like, I'm going to be doing my monthly vlog. There's always this big one doing a monthly vlog because I used up all the available lights, because I will be filming right into the evening. Sorry, it's a train passing by on the Droitwich line there, perhaps one going up on the older Bristol-Birmingham line. We have had very low rainfall levels, generally speaking, throughout April and May, which is not so good if you're a gardener, but it has been good for the flowers. Now, my first video of the month, back in April, since my last vlog, was the Gloucestershire woodland. Now, if you're a regular viewer to my channel, you'll know that I've been following this woodland since last summer, and I did a video on spring, and obviously the main focus of that one was the bluebells. There was also a few wood anemones I seem to remember as well. The behind the scenes story behind making that video was that normally when I go to that woodland, I can actually walk to it from where I live in Gloucestershire, and it's only about 2 or 3 miles away. It's usually pretty quiet. Unfortunately, it landed on a Saturday. Normally I'd try to do it midweek if I can, but it happened to land on a Saturday. And when I got there, I saw these people walking down the track to the wood, and I'm thinking, oh, no, I need it nice and quiet. I can't have a load of people trampling through the bluebells as I'm trying to film them. Panic. So there is like a style, which I have used a couple of times making that video. I do like a piece of me walking into the style to enter the woodland. That's it, going into the woodland. So I decided to not go that way. Everybody else was going in that way. So we're at the side of the woodland, and in like a side entrance, if you like, which nobody else seemed to notice. And when I got through the side entrance, wow, the bluebells were absolutely stunning. They just blew me away. And I saw families of riding people, other couples and that, coming into the wood, but they completely bypassed the bluebells that you actually see in the shot. They didn't see those at all. And the ones where you go in the main entrance, the normal entrance to the woodland, were kind of mediocre. They were okay. But the ones which I came in on the side entrance, I was just lucky. And I only knew about that because obviously I've got so familiar with that woodland now because I've been back and forth. There will be another update on that in the summer, not next month. Will be formed next month. That'll probably be around probably July time, I guess, something like that. So yeah, that was the first one I did. The second video I did in the month, it's been a busy month. We had 12 videos, I think, altogether. The second one was the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Railway. And this is kind of the first, obviously it's part of my railway series, that one, but it's kind of the first one I've done on a steam railway properly. What I mean by that, I've actually managed to get shots of steam engines and trains going through, because when I've done preserved lines previously, I think one springs to mind is the Avon Valley one between Bristol and Bath. When I went there, it was a diesel only day. There were no steam trains running. And then I'm mainly focusing on, well, there's a bit of that. It was a bit of interest with that train and everything and running around, but there was no steam. So that was kind of my first visit there properly. It's not that far from where I live, so I'm kind of got that one and the Severn Valley Rail, which are obviously the two biggest ones in the area that I cover. And I will go to the Severn Valley probably when I do the Severn Way, more on that in a bit. And I will go back there because I'd started at Toddington, which is the main preserved centre there. But I then just got a short journey. I actually went there with my dad as well. He loved the day. And we went to Winchcombe, which is familiar with my Cotswold Way. I've been there many, many times before. Beautiful place, beautiful station as well, which has been rebuilt. But it's been really, really authentically done. I absolutely thought it was fantastic. But Winchcombe is much quieter than Toddington. And it's a fantastic place to do some railway photography, particularly using the bridge there. You get some fantastic vantage points of getting the steam trains going through up to Broadway and down to Cheltenham Spa Racecourse Station. Now this is one of the most favourite things I like to see in the month of May. Horse chestnut trees out in flower. I just love their white dainty flowers, and they're just like those little pink centres that they got. It always reminds me of someone's just gone around with a paintbrush and just painted in the pink. I just think they're absolutely fantastic. They're just going over now. This tree's just starting to go over in terms of flowering. But yeah, wonderful horse chestnut trees. And again, that reminds me of something else, because when I was doing the Cotswold Way, and Roy Edwards, hi Roy, it was reminding me of this the other day when he was going around a churchyard with yew trees, is the feature called Name That Tree. Now they will be coming back again soon, because last year I was doing a feature doing on walks, and we would see a tree and then I would ask you to identify it and then kind of explain what it was and how you can identify that tree, and that will be coming back as a feature on the channel very, very soon. Now it's time to talk canals again. I know there's no canal behind me, we're still in the park here at the hall. Names have just gone out of my head again. I don't know what's wrong with my memory today, but you know the one where I've just been. But yeah, the first video I did was at Avon-Cliff Aqueduct. Not the first video I did, but the first canal video I did. But before I mention about that, I just want to mention about something else. Some of you will be waiting for Canal Update 9. This is the Canal Update series I've been doing on the Stroudwater and Thames and Severn Canal series. Well, good news on that. Most of it's in the can, so to speak. Not only that, most of it's edited. I'm waiting still for the towpath to open. And thank you to a gentleman, and I've forgotten the gentleman's name. I think his first name might be Lloyd. He commented on the video I put up last night, the railway one at Westerly, and he told me the towpath opening date is actually going to be next week. So when that opens next week, we'll do some filming on that, finish the editing off and get that published. So it will be landing at some point, probably middle to the end of next week. So we're looking at probably going in from the 25th to the 28th of May. So I hadn't forgotten about that. But yeah, the first canal video I did was at Avon-Cliff Aqueduct, and of course the story about that, which I did include in the video, was that it is, although it's not a halt anymore, it was a halt, it was Avon-Cliff Halt on the railway, because I caught the train down there. I did tell the guard I wanted to get off, or the train manager, and she was aware of that, and the train did stop, but of course I pressed the button, and nothing happened because I ended up at the wrong door. Now, what I didn't say in the video as a behind the scenes bit to that was that when I caught the train back, because I had to change trains, carry on to Bradford-on-Avon, nip over the footbridge and wait for the train coming back again, I was very surprised to see it was the same train manager on the train heading back to Bath, because I think they go on to Trowbridge and then they change staff there. It might be Warminster, one of the two, possibly Warminster. They changed staff over there, the GWR staff. So, and she seemed quite embarrassed, and I was kind of embarrassed because she was embarrassed, because she was like, oh, it's that guy again, and I didn't open the door and I should have told him. And it was all good, because I said to her, no, I said, these things happen, and it was just one of those things. But if I can get the message across, if you are going to Avon to look at that fantastic aqueduct, please make sure you get off. First of all, tell the train guard you want to get off there, and make sure you get off at that one door that opens at that wonderful halt there on the Kennet and Avon Canal. Brilliant spot. I really enjoyed the day there. The only difficulty with the Kennet and Avon filming, as opposed to the Thames and Severn and Droitwich, which I've had a real pleasure filming here today in Worcestershire, been absolutely loving it. Here and the T&S and Stroudwater, generally speaking, apart from maybe a little bit around Stroud, they're all pretty quiet on the towpath. I mean, I'm in this fantastic partner now. There's no one here doing these pieces to camera to you, so I feel completely relaxed doing that. But the Kennet and Avon towpath, I think, kind of because it's in the Bristol Bath conurbation area, it's quite close to a major population centre, probably some 800,000 people live around that canal area. It gets extremely busy, particularly with cyclists, and it does make filming content on that towpath really, really busy. But despite all that, it was an amazing aqueduct, and I'm glad I went to see it, because I'd never seen it before, and I was delighted to share it with you, the viewers of my channel, West Country Wanderings. I've just come across this curious monument here in Hanbury Hall Park. It's really odd. There is a gravestone here marked to a gentleman called Allan, A-L-L-A-N, I think that's right, yes. And it says that he was born on Lammermuir, Lammermuir, which I think is Scottish, June 1861. Don't know if any Scottish viewers can shed any light about the significance of that date. Now, sadly, it looks like he was only 11 years old when he died, because he said it was died here at Hanbury on September 1872. Semper Fidelis. I've forgotten what the Latin that means. I'll drop that in at the bottom. Yeah, it seems like a really sad tale. And there is a monument behind it. So you had the small gravestone. I don't know if one is linked. There is a different date of somebody dying on top of this one. I can't make out any other writing on it at all. So if I've got some more information on this curious monument here at Hanbury Hall, on Hanbury Hall Estate, I'll see if I can dig that up. The other video I did in terms of history, going down the history, which wasn't a canal, railway or walking one, was the one I did at Goodrich Castle. In fact, there's been a couple of castle ones in this month. I'm not quite, it's just the way it worked out. It wasn't a deliberate plan. I've not really done a castle one before. Now, Goodrich is in Herefordshire, and it's not far from the banks of the River Wye. I had been there many moons ago. There is I think it's called Welsh Bicknor. Yes, it is. It's Welsh Bicknor. There's a youth hostel near there called Welsh Bicknor, and I used to do lots of cycling when I was younger, when I was at school, and later on when I started work. Used to go off and for days and days and days. You probably won't be surprised to know I've always enjoyed exploring different places, obviously particularly in this part of the world. And I stayed one night with my friend that was also from school at the youth hostel there at Welsh Bicknor. We're delighted to say it's still there. And we went off to explore Goodrich Castle, and I just had this memory of this very, very vivid red sandstone castle and the moat around it. Sadly there's no water in it, but I remember the moat around it, and it just stuck in my head. And I was one Saturday, I was thinking, where shall I make a video today? And it just popped up into my thoughts. So it's kind of a tribute to my friend John, who is sadly no longer with us. He died back in the early 2000s, so it brought some memories back of that, going there to explore that particular place there in Herefordshire. But yeah, I loved that how it's laid out. The English Heritage have done a fabulous job in laying that out, explaining the history of that fabulous castle monument. Obviously it is a ruin, but there's lots there. You have lots of places. If you've seen the video, there's lots of staircases you can go up, down, towers, stretches of bits where you can walk straight across and see the views either side right into the beautiful Herefordshire countryside. So that seemed to go down quite well, and I'll mention some more about my other castle one I did in a bit. I'm going to take a break now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back to Hanbury Hall, and then, because my car is parked there obviously in the National Trust place, and then I'm going to move it, and we're going to, rather than walking, you can walk to let you know to where I'm going to this church, St Mary's Church, Hanbury. You can walk to it from here, but I'm worried that if I do that, I'm going to run out of time, then the car park's going to be locked. So I'm going to drive closer to it, and then we're going to continue the video from there at St Mary's Church here in Hanbury in Worcestershire. So as you can see, I'm now up at Hanbury Church. Just had a tour inside the church there. A few things to mention about this place. I'm not going to give you too much history. First of all, this hill here has been occupied since Roman times. There was a Roman fort here on this hill here, above the village of Hanbury in Worcestershire. We've got a cracking view across the Cotswolds and Malverns. I can't wait to show you that in a bit. Just before I do that, to tell you a few things of interest about this church. First of all, it's built of Bromsgrove red sandstone, so you can probably see from what's behind me here. And it's been a community here, a Christian community here, for over 1,000 years, although this church is, I can't remember the exact year it was built. Oh, I'm going to drop that in now because I took a photograph of the information panel as I entered the church here. This is actually a minor celebrity church as well. Well, actually probably a major celebrity, particularly if you like soap operas, and a particular soap opera called The Archers, the longest running soap opera in the world. The Archers on BBC Radio 4. A lot of the weddings that have taken place on that soap opera over the years have taken place in this church. They've actually recorded the audio in this church here, complete with the organist playing. Delightful. Now if you go in the church there, you'll see lots of celebrity. They were, it's hard to imagine now because we've got all these other soap operas on television, EastEnders, Coronation Street, that. The Archers started way before all of that, and when it started, the actors that played the various roles were really A-grade celebrities, and there's a guest book there of I think one was called Fred Archer. I'm not too up with my the Archers history, so there's probably somebody watching this is really into the Archers. If you haven't been to this church and you're interested in the Archers, or you listen to the Archers, you really need to come to Hanbury, because it's wonderful, and there's got so many memories of the soap opera here. Anyway, I digress. We're here in this beautiful part of Worcestershire. I'm just going to go over you now and show you the view from the top of the hill here at Hanbury. So yeah, the stunning view behind me. Have one of these fabulous topographs here. That was put in by the villagers of Hanbury here in the millennium. And it shows, well, it's actually really interesting. I've just taken a photograph of it. And it's like the northern part of my channel, West Country Wandering, it's like a slice of that, because there's so many places that are mentioned on this topograph, which I've covered on my channel, West Country Wanderings, particularly lots in the Cotswolds, of course, and the Malverns. The Malverns is over that way. I'll show you that in a bit. But the range of the hills, of course, that you can see there behind me is, of course, the Cotswold Hills, and that's looking towards the direction of Broadway and Stow-on-the-Wold. And the range of those hills behind me, of course, is the Malverns. You can certainly make out Worcestershire Beacon and Herefordshire Beacon, both which I've covered on my channel here on West Country Wanderings in the past. And obviously we did the Cotswold Way, covering loads of that. And I'll mention some more about the Cotswolds in a bit. Yes, the views from here at Hanbury are just absolutely delightful. I've just been blown away by today. Obviously we started with the Canal, Hanbury Hall, now this delightful church. The other thing I forgot to mention, lots of connections to Hanbury Hall inside of that church because of the Vernon family. Wherever you look, you'll see monumental tombs to the Vernon family. Particularly, I think it's Emma that I mentioned earlier on, and also Helen. that were key women that lived in Hanbury Hall and put their kind of stamp on it in terms of the paintings and the design. They're buried in the church here at Hanbury, as you can imagine. Back to the channel, and in terms of the Cotswolds, obviously we've got the Cotswolds just behind me there, just looking absolutely stunning here. Although the sun's gone in now, the still views are really clear, so it's an absolute delight and a real pleasure to be here. I did two Cotswold ones in terms of walks and a town one, and I'll mention the town one in a bit, because I did them both on the same day. Now I did the Cotswold walk, it was number 6, and I went from Fairford to Quennington. I actually did that on the May Day bank holiday, because I was a bit worried about filming, because obviously it gets really busy May days and traffic and travel, but it wasn't too bad. I was really pleased, and that's been a pretty well received video. It's a lovely place, that walk following the River Colne there and going into Quennington and back, so it's made it a nice circular walk, so I really enjoyed on that. And on the back of that, I then did, after I finished that walk and I had a bite to eat and something to drink, I then did a town trail walk around Fairford. That hasn't proved to be popular, and the reason I'll come back into the town trails in a minute is because I did an experiment with another video which I'll mention later, which is kind of an experimental one, and I'm thinking, I don't think people want the town content. That's what, from the number of views, that seems to be what be going on, because obviously the Cotswold walk one around there was popular, the town one a lot less so, and I think it's because it's urban, and my channel is obviously known for being rural today here in this lovely part of Worcestershire. That is what people don't really want on the channel, so that I'll obviously be changing the content of that as we go on. Beautiful valley behind me here, absolutely stunning landscape here. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm just blown away, actually. Couple of things just to tell you that this place is near what's called the Ginny Ring Craft Centre. Now, my fellow YouTuber Roy Edwards covered this about 2-3 months ago. I'm not going to have time for it today because it's starting to get later on in the day now, so I think we will visit it at a future point on West Country Wanderings, though some of it isn't really the sort of thing I do. I also like to say at this point, I mentioned to Louise, who runs Southwest Sundays as well. Hi Louise, who's given me support, and she's very good at covering places like markets and town centres with events on. I'm really struggling in those busy places, and although I probably will go to Ginny Ring and show you what's there, it'll be a bit more clandestine and perhaps somebody that's able to talk with the traders, because I really find that quite difficult. However, having said that, I've just had an interesting experience here, because while I was doing one of the previous pieces of camera here on Hanbury Hill, a gentleman came up to me, asked me if I was a vlogger, YouTuber, and I said yes I was, and he looked my channel up and he's already subscribed. I forgot the gentleman's name, but really interesting fellow who'd also walked part of the Cotswold Way and knows this area very well, and other areas that I cover as well. So that was a really nice chat. Pleased to meet you. Thank you for that. And welcome to the channel, by the way, as well. What also happened last month was I went down to Cornwall to meet up with my daughter, and we did a video together. She's also interested in photography. In actual fact, she forgot her camera, so I gave her, because I got 2 camera bodders, I gave her one of my camera bodders, so she was my extra pair of hands in terms of photography. And we went to a fantastic place called Luxullian Valley. It's just magical there in terms of industrial archaeology, because we found a magnificent, well, we didn't discover it ourselves, it's been there for hundreds of years, but we discovered a magnificent viaduct there, which is in, well, although it's under threat in terms of it may need some attention, it's not in danger of imminent collapse, and it's just beautiful across the valley, and the river there, the Par River, which goes underneath it. And I just loved that place. It had a real atmosphere to it, because obviously there was a lot of mining there, and I told the story of how that viaduct came into being. But really enjoyed that one in Cornwall, and obviously I will be continuing to produce. Obviously it's quite a bit further away from where I live now, because my daughter lives there. I will be going back to do content from Cornwall in the near future. Now, after one video from Cornwall, shall I say, I then followed that up with 2 videos from Devon, which I did not on the same day, but in fairly close proximity. I was actually when I was heading down to Cornwall to meet up with my daughter, I got off the train at Totnes and I made a video about Totnes Castle, which seems to be, so you got 2 castles for the price of 1 last month. So yeah, I can't say you're going to get 2 castles next month, but there will be definitely castle videos coming up on West Country Wanderings. I also did a tour of Teignmouth, and particularly loved the little ferry ride. I think it's only a couple of pounds. Gets you across to the other side of the River Tyne to Sheldon. Well worth doing if you're in that area, and I really liked Teignmouth. Had a really nice atmosphere to it, and obviously it's not kicking off to get too busy at the moment. Summer peak, I can't guarantee it'll be quite the same, but at the moment, grab a chance. We've got a nice day and you live in this part of the world and can get to Teignmouth. Highly recommend going there by the train as well, so we've got a really, really good railway service to Teignmouth. I've just noticed there's actually a concert here at Hanbury on the 26th of June at 4:30. I think that's the Sunday. Free entry. It's a choral concert, so if that's your kind of thing, I'm sure it'll be absolutely spectacular. So worth popping along to that if you're in the area. Just to bring you up to speed, I did a Herefordshire and Gloucestershire Canal video, update number 4. On that was looking at the remnants of the canal in Hereford. And I also did an experimental. This is what I was talking about, the towns. I did one at Minchinhampton, and that hasn't gone down terribly well. It was an experimental one with photography. I was using a specific type of lens, taking the photographs and explaining what I was doing. It's been going okay-ish, so I'm still a bit like not sure what to do with that. And again, I think it's the town thing. Perhaps if I've done that in the countryside more, perhaps it would have bigger appeal. I don't know, so I'm leaving that open. The comments, though, have been really, really favourable. It's just a number of viewings on it, a few. So that brings me up to a railway one I've just done, which was at Westerly Branch, which I uploaded just late last night, really. And there'll be more railway content. As I mentioned in that video, I'll be doing one on the Somerset and Dorset, and also I'll be back to the Gloucestershire Warwickshire Railway again soon, doing some shots from Winchcombe and over at the Severn Valley Railway between Kidderminster and Bridgnorth. That will all be to come, as well as perhaps looking at another couple of lines, disused lines, and telling their history in this part of the world as well. So that was the month of April going into May. Yeah, quite a bit happening on the channel. Hope you enjoyed this summary here today, and also the Droitwich Canal, the Hanbury Hall, and also this magnificent church here, Hanbury Church, just above the village of Hanbury in Worcestershire. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider a like, subscribe, a comment. I'd really love to hear from you. But what you think about these monthly videos, they do seem to be staying steady in terms of number of views now, and they have increased dramatically from the early days when I was doing them. So that's why I continue to do them, because people seem to find them really useful about what's happening on the channel. In terms of what's coming up, briefly before I say goodbye, obviously there's going to be the update number 9, Stroudwater, Thames and Severn. That's going to be landing next week now, when that towpath opens. There'll be another Herefordshire and Gloucestershire Canal. I'm not sure where that's going to be from, so look out for that. And also I will be starting the Severn Way, I haven't forgotten. But what I'm doing now, because I suffer with bad anxiety, I thought it'd be too much pressure to try and do the whole of the Severn Way this year. So I'm going up to Wales to start it. I'll probably returning now to do some more in the Wales area. I know that's outside my normal area, but it's, of course, that's where the source of the River Severn is. And then I'm doing it bit by bit, fitting it around all the other videos that I do, that rather than trying to think I've got 2 or 3 months this summer to get the Severn Way done, and trying to cram it all in and other videos going by the wayside. So that's not going to be happening. So it'll be kind of a side project more than a major project, but I will be endeavouring to complete the trip from the Welsh mountain Plynlimmon till where it meets the Bristol Channel at Bristol. I'll say goodbye now. I hope to see you again soon. Look after yourselves. Take care. All the best. Cheers now. Goodbye.